Hey, this is Doc Yates. I'm a naturopathic doctor, registered acupuncturist, and a kinesiologist, owner of the Yates Naturopathic Clinic, and the founder of the interactive health website, Able Health. And this is the Simply Health Podcast, a show for females where I work to simplify and demystify the secrets of achieving optimal health naturally, based on my own experience in working with thousands of female patients over the past 15 years of my clinical practice. Welcome to Simply Health. Hey, this is Doc Yates, and today's podcast, and thanks for joining me on the drive to work today, we are going to be talking about restless legs. So this is another common symptom that comes up during perimenopause and menopause. So let's talk about 6 simple things that you can do, generally in this order, to address restless legs. Because there's such a pain, like you lie down, you're finally ready to go to sleep, and all of a sudden your legs just start twitching and moving and kicking around on themselves. Definitely disturbs your sleep, can lead to a lot of cramps and uncomfortable situations. So let's discuss that. Because generally speaking, usually what they just give are medications that just block your nerves, and that's not getting to the root problem at all. So we really want to address the root. Well, in any situation, we always want to go the extra mile to figure out and address the root situation. So I've been working with restless legs, very consistently for most of my practice. And for this episode, I took the time and I asked a bunch of practitioners in different fields, including a lot of practitioners who do body work and chiropractors and osteopaths, to see about what, from their perspective and what they found. And it all corresponds to what I found in practice as well. So we'll talk about our experience. The obvious point number 1 out of 6 is magnesium. So when in doubt, the first thing you should always be trying is taking some magnesium, probably about an hour before bed. Generally, I have people use like a glycinate starting dose, typically around 400 milligrams. If it's too much, you'll know because you're going to be running to the bathroom with a little bit of loose stool. And if it's too little, then you won't get the effect, so then you can go up a little bit more to, say, 600. But number 1, always start with magnesium across the board. The second thing that I've found when it comes to restless legs is potassium. And the most common times that I find potassium to be an issue is if someone's already been taking magnesium and then they go on a really low carb diet, like a keto diet, and they're not getting enough potassium rich foods on that diet, or they're not supplementing with potassium, that's when you would see that potassium would be indicated. And potassium doses are usually pretty high, so they're typically about 1,000 milligrams, sometimes up to 1,500 or 2,000 milligrams. So the dose of potassium is high, because the typical daily requirement for potassium is about 3 grams. That's 3,000 milligrams. So ideally you're getting a lot of that for food, but with those low-carb diets, the demand goes up. So potassium. So if it's one of those situations where you never had restless legs before, you're already taking magnesium, you can't figure it out, and it's all of a sudden starts about a month or so after doing a very low-carb diet, get the potassium going. The third point is taurine. So taurine is an amino acid most commonly recognized in energy drinks. So like Red Bull, I think it's actually called Red Bull because taurine stands for bull. But interestingly enough, it's not the taurine that gives the stimulant. Taurine is a calming amino acid, and it's put in those drinks to help kind of counter all the caffeine and other stimulants that are in there. So what I have found is that taurine, when someone doesn't have enough taurine in their diet, their demand for magnesium goes way up. So if someone's taking a lot of magnesium, and they're not on a low carb diet, you assess they're not potassium deficient, but yet they need way more magnesium on a daily basis than most people, then you want to consider taurine. And I don't mean drinking Red Bull to get it. You can go to the health food store and get some taurine. Sometimes you'll find that it can give like a weird taste in your mouth, but the other thing you can do is start looking up taurine-rich foods and make sure you're adding those to your diet. The next thing that I've found in practice is acupuncture makes a huge difference. And I find acupuncture makes the most difference in cases where the person's quite a bit older and there's possibly a circulation issue. So after you've dealt with the electrolytes, the next thing you commonly see when you're dealing with restless legs is that the person does not have good circulation to the muscles, and when they lay down at night and their legs are elevated, which means that they don't have gravity to help push the blood flow down to the arteries, you'll see everything start to tighten up and lead to cramping and twitching. So you want to do things to improve the circulation, and acupuncture does a great job at that. I had one case where an older gentleman, he had tried the magnesium before. A lot of times people have tried these, tried magnesium, because that's a very basic one they'll find online. He had already tried the magnesium. He definitely wasn't on any type of low-carb diet. I assessed his diet. He was getting lots of potassium into it. But when you looked at his legs, they just didn't have they were kind of pale, not colored, not a lot of signs of great circulation. When I pushed on his toes, it kind of and it makes, when you squeeze on something and it kind of goes white for a second, then it turns back to the skin color because the blood flow goes right back. Everything was slowed down. So we did quite a bit of acupuncture in his legs, and that fixed everything up. So it probably took about 4 or 5 sessions to get everything loosened up and get the circulation flowing again. But you have to address that. So acupuncture is probably one of the best things to do to address circulation in those situations. There's other herbs you can use to address circulation. Some people, or amino acids, some people will use arginine. You can use herbs like ginger. In Chinese medicine, they use a lot of ginger and cinnamon extract to push the circulation to the extremities. And that's a pretty tasty tea, actually, a cinnamon ginger tea. So you can get that going if circulation is one of the things you're considering. The next thing to do is the muscle tension itself. And that's why acupuncture works good for that, because it relaxes the tension. And the more muscle, here's the way it works, is that the more muscle tension you have, the more it kind of squeezes and blocks the circulation. The more the circulation blocks, the more tense the muscles get. And you can just see how this cycle goes. So I have people do a lot of stretching and rolling. So if you can get them to pick up those, like a foam roller, or if you can pick up a foam roller if you're dealing with this, basically a foam roller and a tennis ball would address that. So you can use the tennis ball to roll out your feet, use the foam roller to roll out your calves and hamstrings. And when doing that, you're going to improve circulation, loosen up the muscles, stretch everything out, and you will see a reduction in your symptoms. And finally, the last thing you can do, and I don't pull this one out as often, this is more in a bad case where it's going to take a little while to respond, but you want to get some temporary improvement while you're waiting for the muscles and everything to loosen up, is that you can use, this is point number 6, is that you can use different things that stimulate circulation topically. So an example would be something like Tiger Balm, A535, any of those strong menthol rubs that you normally put on sore muscles, things that make your muscles feel cool or hot. Those work because they're stimulating a lot of circulation to the area as well. So if you can stimulate the circulation to the area, so normally before they go to bed, I'd have them rub like Tiger Balm all over their feet, so it stimulates circulation down to their feet. Put on some socks, go try to do a few stretches, take your magnesium, go to bed. And after a while, you can then start kind of weaning out the need for these topical balms as everything else starts to kick in. So let's kind of review everything. We'll go backwards. So number 6. Now I want to start with number 1. We might as well go in order of the things I think that you should try. So number 1, magnesium. 2, potassium. 3, if you're not seeing the results for that, you could consider adding a little of taurine. 4, the best thing from the circulation standpoint by far is acupuncture, because it works with circulation and muscle tension and everything. But if you don't have access to that, then rolling and stretching and then stimulating the circulation to the area with sports bombs and, like I said, Tiger Balm and those types of things. So I hope this was all helpful. If you want to learn more about treatments for this, be sure to check out ablehealth.us or ablebeta.com for now, until we get those sites continuously updated and improved. And I hope, enjoy your day. This is Doc Yates signing off. Thanks for tuning in to Simply Health. If you want to learn more about health, check out Able Health. If you want to see some of the other projects that I've been working on in health, business, music, and life, please check out the links below.